Story title: A Navy unit set the single dad up as a joke on a blind date, but the Admiral's words brought tears. The story begins with a moment that grips the heart. Imagine a tired man in his mid-30s, his hands calloused, his uniform slightly faded, sitting alone in a small diner at the edge of a coastal town. The soft hum of chatter fills the air, and outside, the ocean wind brushes against the glass. His name is Ethan Cole, a single dad, a Navy mechanic turned civilian worker, and a man who hasn't smiled in years. "Don't skip this one," the narrator's voice would say, pulling viewers in. Because by the time you hear what the Admiral said to this single father, you'll understand what real honor looks like. Ethan wasn't supposed to be there that night. His Navy unit had insisted he go on a blind date, claiming it was time he opened up again, time to move on from the past. But Ethan didn't know that the setup was meant as a joke. A cruel prank. They thought it would be funny to watch the quiet widower try to talk to someone new. He had lost his wife, Sarah, 5 years earlier in a car accident. Since then, it had just been him and his little girl, Lily, who was now 7. Every morning before heading to the Navy docks, he'd braid her hair, pack her lunch, and whisper, "Daddy's proud of you." That was his life, quiet, steady, routine. When he arrived at the restaurant, he felt out of place. His shirt was neatly pressed but old. He kept checking the time, wondering if maybe she wouldn't show up. Maybe that would be better. But then the door opened. A woman walked in, elegant but simple, confident but kind. Her name was Clara Bennett, and she wasn't in on the joke. She was the daughter of a retired Navy admiral and a pediatric nurse who'd agreed to the blind date because her friend told her it was for a good man who just needed a little light in his life. When Clara sat down, Ethan stood awkwardly, unsure what to say. Their conversation started clumsy, full of small silences. But as the minutes passed, something shifted. She asked about his daughter, and his face softened. He talked about Lily's love for drawing and how she taped her pictures all over the kitchen walls. Clara laughed gently, and that sound, warm and real, melted something inside him. But at a nearby table, Ethan's Navy buddies were watching, trying not to laugh. They'd planned to make fun of him later. One of them even took a photo, whispering, "Can't believe he actually showed up." They didn't realize that something sincere was unfolding before their eyes. Later that week, the prank came out. Ethan overheard 2 sailors joking in the hangar bay about how the old man finally got himself a pity date. His heart dropped. He didn't say anything, just kept working, but his silence spoke louder than anger ever could. When Clara found out, she was furious, not at him, but at the cruelty behind it. That night, she showed up at his door. "Don't you dare let what they did define who you are," she said firmly. "You are not a joke, Ethan. You're the kind of man this world needs more of." Her words stayed with him. Weeks passed, and something unexpected happened. Ethan and Clara grew close. She met Lily, helped her with school projects, brought laughter back into their small home. For the first time in years, Ethan started to feel alive again. But the story didn't end there. Months later, the base held its annual Navy Appreciation Gala. Every unit was expected to attend, and that year, Admiral Bennett, Clara's father, was the guest of honor. Ethan almost refused to go, afraid of being a target again. But Clara insisted. "Come," she said softly. "Stand tall. You've earned your place." When he walked in, dressed in his old formal blues, the room went quiet. The same men who had laughed at him now avoided his eyes. He stood off to the side, unnoticed, until Admiral Bennett stepped to the podium. The Admiral began his speech, talking about honor, duty, and the quiet heroes who never seek attention. Then, unexpectedly, he said, "There's a man in this room who reminds us what true service looks like. Not just to his country, but to his family, to his child, and to the values we all swore to uphold. His name is Ethan Cole." The crowd turned. Ethan froze. The Admiral continued, his voice heavy with emotion. "When my daughter told me about him, about how he carries his pain with dignity, how he never asks for help, and how he's raising a young girl to believe in kindness, I knew he represented everything we stand for in this Navy. Ethan, men like you make this uniform worth wearing." Ethan's throat tightened. The room erupted into applause. But the most powerful moment came when Admiral Bennett stepped down from the stage, walked straight to Ethan, and saluted him. "You, son, are no joke. You are a hero, to your daughter, and to all of us." Ethan could barely hold back tears. Clara stood beside him, her hand gently finding his. Lily, standing in front in her little white dress, smiled proudly, clutching a small drawing she had made. Her daddy, a big heart, and a word written in crayon, hero. That night changed everything. Those who mocked him learned the cost of their cruelty. And Ethan, he finally believed what Clara and the Admiral had seen in him all along, that broken doesn't mean weak, and quiet doesn't mean invisible. In the end, Ethan found not just love, but respect. The respect of his peers, his command, and most importantly, himself. The narrator's voice would fade in softly as the video ends. Sometimes the people who laugh at you are the ones who see your strength last. But the ones who truly matter, they see it from the start. If Ethan's story touched your heart, take a moment to like this video, share it, and subscribe for more true stories of courage, love, and redemption. Because heroes like him walk among us every day.